Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be doing a weekly breakdown from the week that we have just had, the 10th of November, breaking down every single day, day by day, going over the trades that you could have taken, the trades that I taught myself, as well as my mentorship students, and sort of, how you could have got into the trades, and also looking at price action through the lens of quality theory, using daily candle closures, which you guys know I do preach about quite a lot, and also sequential SMT, PSPs, and the true trade in the state of delivery to help sort of confirm that bias and how you can use it within your trading as well, okay? And if you guys couldn't tell, we've got a new sort of setup going on here, new camera, new angle. Let me know if you guys are, sort of liking it in the comments down below. Also, we are going to be putting something on this wall here very soon, which should hopefully make the videos look a lot cleaner as well. So, yeah, with that being said, buckle up. It's going to be a great video. We're not going to be doing any fancy edits or cuts or anything like that. Literally just straight to it. Each asset, looking at the indices triad in particular within this video. If you guys would like to see another video like this, maybe looking at different triad, maybe the forex triad, commodities, again, do let me know in the comments down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So first of all, let's look at the weekly chart, right? How could we have sort of predicted that we would have had a bearish week, the week that we've just had, which, by the way, the week of November the 10th, 2025, is the week that we are reviewing. So how could we have came into this week anticipating a bearish candle, anticipating shorts for the most part for the week? Well, the way that we could have done it, right, is through the lens, again, of candle closures, right? So look how the previous week closed. We got the continuation candle signature to the downside, right? So this week here, the 3rd of November, closed below this week's low, right? The wick of it, closure below on NQ and on ES and also on YM. Not only that, but ES actually inversed this weekly gap right there. Did it inverse it? Yeah, just about. NQ didn't quite, but you can see it did inverse its MWOG here. So you can see that as well. So super clean. So that already gave me a bearish bias coming into this week here. And within my Discord and to the mentorship students, I literally told them about this before this week began. This is what I said. Anticipate bearish price action, targeting the previous weekly candle low, and anticipate for this weekly candle to pull back up to here, exactly here. Look for a cracking correlation, whether that be a weekly cycle or a monthly cycle, and then look to trade lower, right? But why did I specifically say here? Well, because look, right? Look at this. How does a fair value gap formation form, right? Well, a gap would form if this candle here, obviously candle 1, 2, and 3, if this candle here didn't pull back up to this candle's wick, right? So this is what's called a rebalance. I think ICT teaches it like an immediate rebalance, where essentially this candle pulls back up to this candle 1's wick, fills in this candle. So I like to call it rebalancing the previous candle's range, because it's filled in this. There's now no longer going to be a gap formation there. So if we was bearish, there's no reason to come back up to here now, right? There's no reason to take this weekly candle's high, okay? Because this candle here has already been rebalanced. So that's kind of why I expect the price to pull back up in particular to that very wick, okay? And on the way there, price not only rebalances previous candle's range, but it also took out the previous week's high on YM, right? So you guys can see we're looking at NQ, ES, and YM. YM on the right took out the previous week's high. So what does this mean? This means we've got a bearish monthly cycle sequential SMT, right? So if we're expecting a bearish candle, we want to see price initially trade higher for that manipulation higher, the open high low close, and then we're looking for this candle to begin trading lower. So we'd be looking for Monday, Tuesday, the start of the week, to put in the high of the week and then trade away from there. So now if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see this line here is the rebalance, right? So this is where we expect price to trade towards. And not only did it hit the rebalance level, but it also formed a monthly cycle sequential SMT. So YM, as you can see here, previous week high, got traded above right there on Tuesday, okay? However, why would we have not shorted all of these candles up here, right? Why would we not be looking for shorts? Simple reason, because the TCISD had not been confirmed until Wednesday, right? So a TCISD, the candle that creates sequential SMT, in this case, it was YM that created it, the Tuesday 11th of November 10 a.m. candle. So that is our very same candle, TCISD candle for NQ. Go ahead, mark out the open of it. And then as you can see, this candle here was the one to close below it. So Wednesday, 12th of November, 6 a.m. So technically, we formed the bearish cracking correlation on Tuesday, but until Wednesday, after the 6 o'clock candle closed, we wasn't confirmed bearish yet, right? And this is why it's important to wait for the TCISD to form, because you would have got stopped out up here, right? However, once it had been confirmed, if you were looking for shorts here, maybe for a short term, you may have got stopped out if you were trying to short like immediately off this candle. But, you know, the best stop loss placement inside of a TCISD anyway is the sequential SMT high. So in this case, this high here for NQ, and we didn't run above that high, right? And you can see also, for a little bit of time, we did close above the TCISD. This was like at market close anyway, like Asia session, 10 p.m. And then you can see immediately the 2 a.m. so like London session, closed back down below the TCISD. And then you can see 6 a.m. Thursday, sorry, just barely to the wick, traded back into the TCISD after it had been reconfirmed. And then from there, we began dropping lower, okay? As you can see, short, all shorts, Thursday, Friday, and then Friday we got a pull back into the range. Why? I think in terms of open high, the high had been put in, the low had been put in because we'd formed a cracking correlation on the lows as well to mark our low of the week. And then we put in the low and then we close, pull back up to close, right? That's the anatomy of a candlestick. So that's essentially the week broken down with, you know, through the lens of the monthly cycle and the 4-hour TCISD, and also that weekly candle rebalance, okay? So now, how could we have taken trades on each of these days? So Monday, Tuesday, sort of the start of the week, you can actually trade against your bias. If you're bearish on the week, for example, you can trade against it, you can take longs. Why? Because remember, again, think in terms of open, high, low, close. Price has to trade higher before trading lower. So where could we have been looking for longs towards, like the bias? Well, Monday, Tuesday, weekly rebalance, right? This wick that we marked out from the first candle, we could have longed all the way up here, long. Once it had been hit, then you'd be like, okay, fair enough. Maybe we could start dropping lower now. However, we still hadn't formed a cracking correlation at this point. It wasn't until we came back to the rebalance again, then we formed the cracking correlation. So the monthly cycle right there on the highs. So then after this had been put in, after it obviously being confirmed, then we was like, okay, cool, now we can look for shorts. So Monday to Tuesday, you could have been looking for shorts. So how could we have taken shorts? Well, first of all, let's look at the daily candle closure. So Friday of last week, well, like not the week that we just had, the previous week before. So this is 10th of November, the week starting. So the week before the 10th of November, 7th of November right there on Friday. As you can see, we got a bullish reversal candle signature. And also, if you guys go back to the bootcamp episode of Daily Bias, I literally caught this move to happen, by the way, purely based off this candle closure. I said longs up here and then probably going to take shorts again back down to this low because there's no real cracking correlation on this low for it to push us back to all-time highs. Literally right now, go back and watch the Daily Bias video or after this video, and you'll see I called this literally a week within advance. And this is what I always do to my students. My mentorship students always know this information before it even prints on the chart. So yeah, link in the description if you guys do want to apply for that. But either way, as you can see, reversal candle signature, also a PSP on the daily chart. Friday closed bearish, Friday closed bullish for YM, right? So easy longs on Monday, immediately to the rebalance. Tuesday was a little bit like, okay, well, Monday's hit the rebalance. But again, Monday didn't cause any manipulation. So we could have came into Tuesday anticipating manipulation. But again, Tuesday didn't manipulate. We ran above Monday's high on all assets, right? So there was no reason to sort of go lower. So Monday, all longs during Q1. Q2, we did initially open up high, take the previous day high first. Then we retraced. But then you can see sort of like 9 o'clock, sort of like it was a little bit weird around this 9-10 area here where I sort of trade. So I wouldn't really say there was anything clean there. But yeah, either way, you could have sort of looked for longs, but that would have been like 11 a.m. and whatnot. So I wasn't trading then. But either way, Monday, let's see how we could have looked for longs on Monday, right? So we got the bullish candle signature, the reversal one. So now we're looking for a daily cycle or a 90-minute cycle, ideally, to confirm that bias for the day and to allow us to know that, okay, lower the day is probably in. So Monday, as you can see, we not only had this sequential SMT between Q1 and Q2, right? So that hence why Asia was lower the day because, as you can see, YM during London ran below Asia's low. NQ failed, so failure swing asset. So London manipulated, failed to run below Asia low. So lower the day there, confirmed for NQ. And then we had our TCISD form, right? which was this candle, I believe. Which candle ran below Asian lows? Let's take a look. Yep, just about that 2 a.m. candle, which for NQ is a bullish closure, I believe. Yeah, bullish closure. So we can't use a bullish candle as a bullish TCISD. We use a bearish one, mark at the open, price closed above. Did trade back down below one last time, and then we did get that closure back above at 3:15 a.m. And then from there, bullish, 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 right? Also, we can extend the TCISD out. And as you can see, because London manipulated, we'd expect the AM session to distribute to the upside. So you can see AM traded lower initially into the TCISD and then began that distribution. But this was kind of sloppy as well, because for the most part, we like kind of manipulated lower before trading higher, right? So yeah, it wasn't too clean necessarily. You can see also we formed another daily cycle, which again isn't really what you want to see. This was a hidden one right there, okay? So you can see all assets did trade back down below London lows. However, ES didn't close below, neither did NQ, but YM, sorry, did close below right there at 10:45. Hence why this is our TCIC candle. And again, as simple as this, like literally magic, closure above, confirm this manipulation leg is over, and then just straight longs during PM session, right? So that's how you could have sort of traded Monday. Again, wasn't the cleanest necessarily. And then we move into Tuesday. Again, we'd have that bullish bias. I don't like the fact that we'd taken previous day high initially though, because usually that's a great target to have, right? You know, we open up low for the day. We've got that bullish continuation candle signature. We can easily anticipate that previous day high get taken. The fact it was taken immediately wasn't clean, but you know, based on the candle signature, the closure, and no manipulation beyond these highs of significance, usually we want to see a weekly or monthly cycle put in the high of the week, then we'd expect, you know, this day to still be bullish, right? As you can see, during Q3, we got a what seems to be a hidden daily cycle sequential SMT with YM, I believe it says. So let's take a look. This was Q2, Q3. Oh, it was just literally a regular sequential SMT. Sorry. So London lows got ran below. Again, this was pretty messy. Ran below there at Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. Confirmed by the TCISD, then disrespected, then confirmed again, then disrespected. Actually, this was a bank holiday, right? Yeah, this was a bank holiday. So this would have been a no trade day. I didn't actually trade on bank holidays. That's part of my rules. I don't trade on a bank holiday. So this would have been, you know, not a trade here anyway. But overall, you can still see like mechanically it is there. Daily cycle, TCIC gets reconfirmed. Reconfirms there at 1 p.m. and then PM session wicks into it beautifully and then gives those sort of continuation longs. But overall, like Tuesday should have been no trade day for most of you guys as well anyway, because it is a bank holiday. Not really any volatility within the markets on those bank holidays, right? So Monday was okay, more or less for the later traders. So I didn't take anything here on Monday because for me, like, yeah, I just didn't take anything. I don't think I did at least. I mean, 9:30 did give a nice move higher initially. I think we got a micro actually on Monday, right before 9:30 as well. Let's take a look actually. Where's Monday at? So we'd already had the daily cycle between Asia and London, remember? Yeah, and then we did get a micro. This was actually pretty clean. I do remember this now. Micro right before 9:30. So remember, if 9:30, if there's no manipulation prior to 9:30, expect 9:30 to manipulate. However, if we have manipulation prior, in this case, we had a daily cycle and then a micro right before 9:30. TCISD being up here because this kind of ran it out initially on NQ, right? But it's the first asset to run it out is where we count the TCISD candle. So in this case, it was YM, I believe. Where is it? Q4, Q1, or it may have been ES. ES ran it out at 9:13. So as you can see, this bullish candle here, we can't use a bullish candle. Mark out the open of the most recent bearish one. Price closes above at 9:21. Any entry inside of the TCISD would have been valid. As you can see, you can mark out the body. Body got respected beautifully. A wick below doesn't mean anything. It's the closures that tell the story, right? Wicks are there to sort of throw you off. The closures, the bodies tell the actual story itself, whether we're respecting the TCISD or not. So you could have taken any entry inside of the TCISD body. Remember, stop goes on that SSMT low. And Q1 manipulated, so Q2 opens up low and then distributes to the upside. Very, very nice trade there. Not one that I took myself. I thought that maybe we could have ran these lows one last time, just because of how close we got. but you can see it was respected very, very nicely, and that would have been a very clean trade. Even though we traded lower again and got another like daily cycle hidden sequential SMT. Remember, it was a day prior to the bank holiday and it was a newsless Monday, so again, you know, usually isn't always super clean price action, right? So that was Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday was pretty meh. Monday was pretty nice, actually, if I do say so myself. Everything sort of lined up. Candle closure, daily cycle to confirm the daily bias, and then literally a micro within that 9 to 10:30 window, right before 9:30 as well, for that 90-minute TCIC model, which is the model that I do, of course, trade, and that is the one that all of my mentorship students trade, and also I've got the video out there on YouTube, so if you guys do want to check it out. So now we've got our next day here, which is Wednesday. So let's see, first of all, how Tuesday closed. So Tuesday gave a bearish reversal candle signature, right? But remember, if you go back to the daily bias bootcamp video, I did say that even if we get a reversal candle signature, right, if price action doesn't align with that, like the cracks and correlations, so we didn't have a sequential SMT on these highs, right? So we wouldn't necessarily have sort of been super confident this would have held. So we could have easily came into Wednesday expecting some form of manipulation because we'd hit the rebalance, but we had no manipulation. Usually there's always a weekly cycle or a monthly cycle to put in the high and low of the week. So if we didn't have one at the time, we can expect one within the following day. That's what I always do, right? If I'm bearish on the week, we don't have a bearish weekly form between Monday and Friday. Okay, cool. I know that we've not manipulated for the week. I'm looking for it on Tuesday. If we don't get it on Tuesday, I know that it's almost guaranteed to form on Wednesday, because if we haven't put in the high of the week by sort of like Wednesday, then potentially our bias is off, right? So here there's still a chance to confirm our bias. As you can see, this was the day that we formed the bearish monthly cycle SMT. Actually, no, that was on Tuesday, sorry. That was on Tuesday. So during like the bank holiday time period. So again, you wouldn't have traded this anyway. Come around to Wednesday. Boom. What time do we confirm our TCISD at? 6 a.m. So this is actually kind of annoying because this was within my time window, so I wasn't sure if it was going to get confirmed or not. However, what you can do is, even if the higher time frame TCISD hasn't been confirmed, right, you can still utilize the lower time frame to look for a cracking correlation up here. Whether that be like a daily cycle, 90-minute cycle, and then you can use that lower time frame TCISD to get you in line with this move lower, right? So like that's how the two-stage SMT works. So you can use 2 stages to get in early, or you can use 1 stage, wait on that 1 stage confirmation, and then you can just sort of take it on the same time frame, right? So this would have been like the 4-hour trade, just using the 1 stage monthly cycle, TCISD, boom, previous week low, you know? So let's see what we had on the highs on Wednesday, see if we had anything to sort of confirm shorts before it got confirmed via the TCISD. So let's see. Okay, it looks like we got something here. Actually, yeah, I think Wednesday was the day that I took my first trade for the week. I got one on Wednesday and one on Friday, I believe. So this was Wednesday's one. So we had a daily cycle here, again confirming our high of the day. Where's our TCISD at? Well, YM ran the highs. So let's see when YM ran London highs. Looks like it was formed off the very first candle, 6 a.m. So this candle here, obviously bearish TCISD, we can't use a bearish candle, so we use the most recent bullish one, mark at the open. It did get confirmed at 6:15, gave a somewhat decent short for a little bit of time, then we did close back above it, so you can mark at the open. So all the time that we're above it is disrespected, it's no longer a valid TCISD. However, if the sequential SMT remains, then we close back down below the TCISD, it's then revalidated, right? So we confirmed it right there again at 9:15. So as soon as 9:15 closed, 9:30 got released, and because we manipulated prior, 9:30 just distributed immediately to the downside. So daily cycle, 15-minute TCISD. I believe we also had a microcycle all the way up there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and take a look. This was on Wednesday. Let's see. Down the 1 minute time frame really is like, it's a lot more 1 minute candles during the day than what you actually think. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, this was the trade here that I took on Wednesday. I remember this one now. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. So daily cycle on the highs, 15-minute TCISD also got confirmed after the 9:30 candle had closed, which was this candle here, right? But we was also, you know, below it at the time. We'd also formed a micro with YM. So you can see again, manipulation before 9:30 equals 930 manipulation. So 923 literally instantly forms that sequential SMT. This will be our TCIC candle, but it's bearish in a bearish scenario. So we use the most recent bullish one, mark out the open, price and wicks into it. This is where we grab our entry. Stop goes on the SMT high, so the failure swing high. And then as you can see, just stupid amounts of RR right there, just from that singular trade. Obviously, I didn't hold all the way down there. I just took like roughly 3R and just sort of got out, right? But yeah, you can see just singular candle, 930, just clean as day. Boom, straight manipulation, straight distribution, sorry, to the downside. TCIC respected nicely. And I mean, we even had one on the highs up here for that sniper entry. But you guys can truly see how powerful, the TCISD is and whatnot. Also, all the indicators that I'm using now are linked below in the description if you do want to sort of pick them up and check them out. We've got I always get mixed up, 3-day free trials, that's it, for both the indicators, the TCISD and the toolkit. Or you can pick up the bundle where you'll get both at a discounted price, and there's a trial for that as well. And also, you guys are probably sort of wondering, like, what platform do I trade on? Well, I trade using prop firms. So MetaTrader sometimes on TopStepX, Alpha Futures. I trade with many prop firms, and I am affiliated with many as well. I've not really said this in a video before, but if you guys do want to sort of pick up any discount prop firm accounts, they will be linked below in the description. Follow the link, enter the code, which is always BOOKO. Try out any prop firm. It should, sort of work. Micro Futures, Alpha Futures, Apex, Alpha Capital, pretty much most of the big prop firms out there. I only affiliate with the ones that I trust and use myself as well. So check those out in the description. Make sure to pick up some accounts for super discounted prices. Also, most of them will probably be having Black Friday sales soon, so do look out for that. But yeah, anyway, back to the video. So this was sort of like Wednesday's price action. Super clean. So not only did Wednesday, confirm the TCISD for us, but did the daily candle closure align with lower prices? Because obviously the cracks and correlations align for lower, right? But there's a daily candle align for lower. As you can see, Wednesday creating that bearish reversal candle signature, and not only that, closing as a PSP. So bullish candle for YM, bearish for NQ, and not only did we have the clear narrative through the daily candle closure and the length of quarterly theory and the TCISD, but we had a clear draw on liquidity. This was a trade I took on Thursday as well. This was actually a W as well. So we had volume balance, which was also like an M-walk there on the lower time frame, and an unfilled daily gap, right? So coming into Thursday, super confident, super bearish, anticipating distribution here because this day to me was our high of the week manipulation, right? Confirmed by the cracking correlation, TCIC confirmation, daily candle closure, everything, everything that we could have asked for. So now how could we have gone short on Thursday? Well, let's see. So I remember Thursday clear as day. Actually, I know that we didn't really have much, so we didn't have a daily. As you can see, indicator would pick up a bearish TCIC if there was a confirmed daily. Nothing Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4, just straight lower. So now our next best thing is a 90. And as you can see again, I remember having no 90. The whole move lower, not a single bearish 90. You see the bullish ones formed, right? But they don't work in a bearish market. I'm sorry, guys. I do apologize. So this is why narrative and being able to read price action is so important. Again, you need to have a very clear understanding of what price is likely to do. It's okay knowing the concepts, but you need to be able to apply them together. So please try to do that. So bullish ones, nothing. So there's literally nothing. Usually we want to see a daily or a 90 confirm our bias for the day. However, I was super confident. And also the 90-minute TCISD model does only involve at least a daily, a 90, or a micro. So if we're allowed a micro, then tell me why we can't take this right here, and tell me why I did take it, right? And I was being sarcastic. This was a very clear trade. So yeah, as you can see, Q1 highs ran out literally at 930 on YM. A very 930 candle created micro cycle sequential SMT. NQ ES failure swing. 930 candle was our manipulation one. As you can see, we closed bearish. So again, we can't use that TCISD. So we use the bullish one as our TCISD. Mark out the open. Price manipulated above the highs, creating the sequential SMT, and closed below simultaneously. So then this is our TCISD where we look for an entry. What did I do? Enter inside of it. Stop on the high. Simple as that. Okay. Where did I target as well? I target the MWOG. So let me go ahead and turn the MWOG on. As you can see, literally just the top of the MWOG, nothing much else there. 4.4R, simple as that. Okay. So that was Thursday's trade. As you can see, coming into the day, everything aligned for lower. We got our 90-minute TCIC model. Boom, simple as that, right? Then comes Friday. How could we have expected shorts and also the longs that played out very nice on Friday? Well, firstly, daily candle closure. How did Thursday close? As you can see, bearish continuation candle signature. However, we did close bullish on the day, but why? Well, this led me to believe shorts. Where's my drawn liquidity? Well, literally the only clear liquidity pool in target, the swing low, which hadn't had a clear cracking correlation on the low, so it was very, very clear for me to target. Also a PSP low, a lot of liquidity resting below. So if I'm coming into this day and my drawn liquidity has already been hit, and I'm thinking in terms of weekly candle, why am I then going to look for longs? Again, open, high, low, close. The low had been put in, the draw for the week had been taken, that previous week low. We got a cracking correlation on the lows as well. We had a monthly cycle. So the shorts, by the way, was just kind of just like straight just continuation lower, like all of London, Asia, just sort of drop, boom, right? Hit the draw liquidity at what time? 7 a.m. But price doesn't just immediately turn around, right? We need to see a cracking correlation on these lows. So monthly cycle, right? As you can see, NQ runs below previous week low. ES and YM both fail, right? We obviously hadn't had the TCIC confirmed until after the 10 o'clock candle close. So nice longs there within PM. Looks pretty consolidative. That's not a word, but it is now. So, but yeah, as you can see, closure above there. But why did we long down here? Well, the long that I caught was during the 10 o'clock candle. So we got the monthly cycle, 4-hour PSP, and then I just looked for an open low within the 10 o'clock candle to take it higher. But how could you have long down here? There wasn't much, I'll be honest. We had the monthly cycle, then you can drop down to the lower time frame for that second stage. Unfortunately, we didn't really have much. No daily cycle, no 90-minute cycle, no micro cycle. Because remember, we don't need it because we already had the monthly. But what we did have is a 15-second, right? A 15-second, which maybe some of you guys aren't familiar with, which is the nano cycle. Let me zoom this in a little bit here. All right, a nano cycle, sequential SMT, Q2, Q3. As you can see, YM does run below. Q2's low. Literally that very first candle. So then that becomes our TCISD. Price closes above. And then we enter inside of the TCISD. This is the one that I didn't take. I took the one after 10 o'clock, as I told you guys. The reason why I didn't take this, I do usually, or like, so from time to time trade the nano, but I don't like catching like a falling knife. I don't like catching the very, very bottom from a nano. If we'd form like a 90 and then a nano like along the way to the highs, for example, then I'd take a nano. But a nano, like a monthly cycle from a nano is a little bit of a big jump for me personally. So that's why I didn't take it. I was really, really waiting for a 90 or a micro to form. We had one for a minute, but again, I was sat waiting for the TCIC confirmation. And that's what saved me from taking a loss, because we got the sequential SMT, but we never confirmed it. Hence why we continued lower. Then we reversed higher after this lower time frame sequential SMT. So this is why waiting for the TCIC model is going to save you so many losses. And it's just that extra layer of confirmation to make you so much confident, right? So that was a long initially. And then sort of like I said, 6 o'clock closes the PSP. We got the monthly cycle. We're taking the weekly draw. There's nowhere else for price to go apart from higher. And not only that, but we had like many unmitigated gaps above us. So that means like not filled gaps. So this tiny one here as well. And then this like main one here, the big boy one with the liquidity resting below it, was like the main target for after the lows have been taken. If we go to the, what's it called? The microcycle, I don't think we had much for our 10 o'clock open low. The only reason I was actually why I was actually able to catch this trade here is because I did actually enter off this TCISD, which by the way has now been disrespected. Like the sequential SMT did get cancelled on this move lower, but I was lucky enough to have my TP because this is one that I took on my forex account. So when I trade forex, I say forex, it's obviously still indices, but on like a forex broker, Alpha Capital Group, someone that I trade with. I was lucky enough to place my stop loss just slightly where this 5-minute gap was at, right? And luckily, as you can see, we traded lower. It was about to get hit, but then you can see turn around. There's probably some sort of nano there. There wasn't any micro on 90. Actually, I know what we did have as well. It was the 5-minute SMT fill. I can actually remember watching this play out and thinking like, oh my god, please save me here. Obviously not like that. I'm not emotionless when I'm trading. Emotional, sorry. But yeah, you can see 10-10, this candle here, creates that SMT fill. So 5-minute gap forms at the same time. ES trades into it, NQ doesn't. And then from there we turn around. So yeah, and then from here, where did I target? Well, because it's my forex account, I do have larger targets than when I trade indices. I literally target Asia highs because we had London highs and Asia highs untagged. They both were very close by, and also Asia highs was like really like nice liquidity built up here, you know, like nice equal highs as well. It was pretty obvious to me, so I just thought I'd hold that, and then boom, as you can see, for a nice 3R. That hit at 10:45, so it wasn't holding for too long. It was a nice run higher there, as you can see. And then we got a daily cycle during PM, and then yeah, during AM, and then kind of dropped lower from there after that. Just, you know, chopping up for that weekly closure. So, guys, hopefully you did find this useful. I guess a little bit of homework for you guys now is, what would we expect next week's first daily candle to do, Monday, based upon how Friday closed, right? Keep in mind, look at YM as well. Look what type of candle it is. Look what type of candle closure it is as well. And look where our drawn liquidity could be. So a little bit of homework for you guys. Make sure you do go study your charts after this plays out. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it does. But remember, more times than not, it will play out. You can see it did at the start of last week. Higher, then lower. We could go higher, then lower again. Who knows? So yeah, with that being said, let me know what you guys think of the setup change as well, and sort of like the vibe that's going on here. Like I said as well, this back wall will have some more or less like decorations on there soon, so it should, like, the whole vibe should look pretty cool. And yeah, with that being said, make sure to sort of check out the socials in the description down below, my free Discord, the indicators used in this video, also my journaling software, Oracle X AI Trading Journal. This is how I journaled all the trades that I took this week, so make sure to check that out. And then also, if you do want to work with me one-to-one, my mentorship or my premium group, sort of check out that in the description, apply for it, see if you are the right fit, and then you can trade alongside me every single day, okay? So with that being said, hopefully you guys did find this useful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.